Hi YouTube, welcome back to Tamara's Tarot and Oracle channel. I am very excited today to share with you a long-awaited deck that has been on my wish list forever, and I finally have in the palm of my hands as we speak. It was given to me as part of a birthday gift. It was a deck that I have mentioned in previous videos at least a couple times, and it is the Victorian Romantic second, that's right, second edition, which is next to impossible to come by these days. There are a couple brand new decks sold, I believe, on Amazon.com for something outrageous like $2 to $3 grand, and that's not going to happen. And then I was so lucky enough to come by someone who was selling their used deck on Etsy, and I just happened to come by it by chance, and luckily, after a little bit of negotiation, they were willing and able to lower their price. And I believe with shipping and handling and everything all together, taxes included, it came to something like $120. Now, it was a fairly used deck, the gold gilding a little bit worn, a couple discrepancies here and there on a few of the cards, but really nothing that bad. And quite frankly, I mean, I've had it now for a few days, and I'm so happy. I'm so happy to have it, because this was the deck I have been longing for as long as I can remember. I do have the Russian edition, and I also have the third edition. I do not have the first edition, but that could be something that I purchase in the future at some point, not near future, because it is a bit pricey and it isn't something that I need right away. But you never know, especially with my obsession, with my tarot obsession / Victorian Romantic obsession. And they happened to find extra cards that they were able to put together to make a few decks for the mini version of the second edition Victorian Romantic, and I purchased that. I just jumped on that right away. I noticed it was advertised on Facebook, and I think it was maybe someone said they saw it on Friday, and on Saturday, which was my birthday, May 19th, I noticed it for the first time, and I jumped on that as soon as I could. So that is coming to me, and I am so grateful, because I mean, I never thought that I would ever get my hands on the second edition, let alone have the standard size and now the mini size coming to me. So I'm very, very happy, and I'm going on and on and on. And let's just show you. I mean, I know that a lot of you, if not all of you, tarot enthusiasts out there have seen this deck. Lord knows I've seen this deck countless times online and in other people's YouTube videos, and I've just ruled over it. And anyway, so here it is. The box is a little damaged. That was probably the worst of it. It didn't bother me, to be honest. I'm keeping it in a bag that I have somewhere. I have some extra tarot bags lying around, and so that's okay. But what's inside, the contents inside, is what's, is the most important. And this deck certainly does not disappoint. So here it is. Here's the gold gilding. So it is worn, depending on how the light is reflecting on it. It is quite used, I believe, been used well. It has a really good energy. I have cleansed the deck, and but it just feels really positive. This side's worn the most. Yeah, I mean, I wish, obviously, it would be great if it was immaculate and pristine, but I am so grateful, finally, to have this deck in my hands. The backs. Okay. I do like the third edition backs. And, I mean, they are very different to these. I'm not into the tapestry looking in the original and Russian edition, not so much my taste, but this is the backing that I just thought was absolutely perfect for this. The gray and the blue. I love it. I love those two colors together. I love the pattern, the design. What is it called? Filigree, or just that not paisley, it's not paisley, but just that Victorian-esque design. It's just absolutely stunning. I love the cardstock. They have like this veneer finish, like this, like they can glide, but they're not slippery. They're really nice to shuffle overhand. I don't really want to shuffle like rifle or riffle shuffle any more than it's been that, you know, because these have been worn, like the gold gilding has been worn away a bit. So, you know, if I can just do the overhand, I'd be happy with that. Every so often I do like to rifle shuffle my decks just to kind of recharge the energy. But certainly overhand works well, and they just shuffle beautifully. I have to say this is my favorite edition just from looking online, and now having it in my hands, I don't go back on what I've always thought and how I've always felt about this deck, because I certainly think that this is still the nicest. I mean, don't get me wrong, the third edition is beautiful. The metallic overlay, it is so beautiful to the point where I don't want to use it unless I can get my hands on a second copy, because I feel like it should be encased in like in a museum, and something that just can just, you know, so it's not touched or tampered or anything, because it's just so pristine. It's in such immaculate condition that I don't want to mess with it. It's so beautiful. And I really do enjoy it. This deck is with the gold gilding and the kind of cardstock and this kind of varnishy finish. And somebody's at my door, but I don't want to answer it because I don't think I need to. Anyway, I think somebody else will get it. Anyway, as I was saying, where am I? I just love everything about this deck. It's just, it feels like a substantial deck to hold in your hands. And I love that reflective gold. I know I'm nuts. Anyway, this is my favorite version of this card, the Eight of Swords. By far, hands down. This is my favorite. In the latest edition, the third edition, they brightened her hair too much. It just bothered me. It was a little bit darker in the Russian edition rather, which I'm sure is about the same, if not the same, as the first edition. This is how, she's just beautiful. I love the colors, the burgundies and the lilacs, you know, the purples and everything about this card. I just absolutely love it. She's just my favorite image in this entire deck. The world. I never quite, you know what? Oh, and I have this as well. The Company, the third edition, which I am reading bit by bit. I don't like to go in order. I get kind of antsy, so I'm kind of just all over the place. And it really does help. It's a very insightful book. It's well written. It's beautifully put together. And it really does give you a little bit more depth and perspective and, you know, insight into the tarot, into the cards and their meanings, and also why they chose the artwork they did and why they made the changes they did. Now this, of course, as I just mentioned, is for the third edition, as there are changes made from the second to the third. Each edition has their own specialty cards and changes made, which are true to that particular edition. So, but I mean, generally speaking, it's mostly the same, and it's a great book, and I will get to that in just a second. I almost forgot. I'm like, I'm making a video and I'm getting all, like, I'm daydreaming about my second edition. So that's the world. Oh, God, I just love it. I am so happy to have this deck. The Ten of Cups. I can't tell you how happy I am. Oh, I love this image. I always have. They've changed this from the original. I mean, the original was cute, but I really like this one the best. I love the moon. I'm not really into the circus theme, but this was the card that had the most discrepancy with it. Just a little bit of the laminate. But the person told me that when they had first received it, there was a little bit of a flaw in the lamination. I mean, that really doesn't. Four of Pentacles. The Three of Swords. Two of Pentacles. The Nine of Pentacles. The Eight of Pentacles. These have been shuffled. They just happen to all be pentacles for some reason. Ace of Pentacles, the Seven of Swords, the Ten of Swords, the King of Swords. I love this Knight, the Pentacles, the Chariot, the Seven of Cups, the Ace of Swords, the Four of Wands, oh, Justice, and the Five of Swords. Or Wands, sorry, the Five of Swords, yeah. I love her, the Two of Wands. I got this card this morning, the Six of Swords. And yes, I would say I'm in a bit of a calmer mental state. The Nine of Wands, the Two of Cups, the Queen of Swords. I like the one with the turban. I actually really liked that image. It was quite fierce and strong. Queen of Cups, Page of Cups. I love the Seven Pentacles, the Five of Pentacles, the Six of Pentacles, Strength, the Hermit, and how these images, the originals, they're taken from the original, and how there's other, like a whole scene going on, and it's really interesting to see. But that's in the book, and I'll show you in a second. I don't want to make this video too long. The Four of Swords. Oh, I love this. The Three of Cups. I love this King of Cups. The Sun. Oh, and the Nine of Cups. The Two of Swords. The Page of Wands. Okay, oops, the King of Wands. Anyway. Ooh, the Knight of Swords. One of my favorites. Oh, King of Pentacles. Lovers. There's two lovers, and I love the other lovers. It's so sweet. The Nine of Wands. I prefer this Nine of Wands to the more recent one, actually. Oh, Priestess. Yeah, the Tower. The Star. Drew Barrymore. The Queen of Pentacles. Okay, so here's the other lovers. Just Queen of Wands. I mean, I don't know. I'm showing you. I mean, there's walkthroughs, and I am just so excited to have this deck. It is just everything about it. The way it feels, just everything. It's not overly glossy. Like I said, it's not too slick. Like, it doesn't slip and slide all over the place, but it does fan out beautifully. It's a great, like, it's not too thin, but it's sturdy, but it's flexible. I just love it. I don't know what else to say. I think it's just perfect in my opinion, and my favorite edition thus far. I mean, I know the Russian edition is pretty much based on the first edition. I think the cardstock should be the same in that, and I do love that cardstock. It's a little too flimsy, which makes it a bit challenging to shuffle. And the third edition, as I mentioned, I don't even want to touch it. It's so beautiful. And I'm really happy to have that in my collection. And it is quite stunning with the metallic overlay. Very quickly, the book. I do recommend this book if you enjoy this deck so much. And this was also given to me as part of a gift. So we have the contents. It tells you everything that's in the book. So we have acknowledgement, introduction, the Victorian Romantic Tarot, a short history of tarot, learning the tarot, reading style, sample spreads, the major arcana, the minor arcana wands, minor arcana cups, and then swords and pentacles, the court cards, and bibliography. So it's quite thorough, quite well planned out. Little blurb on the history and of how the Romantic Tarot all began, which I quite enjoyed reading. And it's just a really nice, soft cover book with some, I thought the images inside would be a little bit bigger, but so that the images are in color and black and white. The originals are in black and white. And it just gives you some keywords and phrases, and then suggestions for reversals if you do read reversals, and then basically an overall, what that card means to the creators of this deck, Karen Mahoney and Alex Yukolov. and also, you know, where they found the artwork, the sources, and that. So it does give you quite a nice little bit of information, you know, making it well rounded without over, you know, doing it. So it's nice and concise. And there are 214 pages, including the last page, which is the bibliography. And it's just really, I mean, they don't have the original artwork for each and every card, but they do have what they can give you for as many of them as they can, you know, as they were able to find and share, because they weren't able to get as much information in all the images, but they chose very well and they explain their choices. So if you're not sure about anything that they have chosen to put into their deck, it kind of does help to clarify things. Like the Ten of Pentacles was, I didn't really get it so much, but now that I read about why they chose what they chose, and let me just find him very quickly, hopefully quickly. No, he's somewhere here. You know, this older gentleman, he could be of a mythical or ethereal world, like a magical being, like a fairy or something like that, where he's looking at you and past you, and possibly to make you think of other possibilities that are beyond the physical realm, beyond the material. And then in contrast, there's a couple, you know, handsomely adorned, and they look like they have wealth and they have love and everything else and everything within the earthly realm, but he's sort of offering you something more. So even though the Ten of Pentacles, you know, it does represent protection and financial wealth and security and legacy and, you know, monetary like fulfillment and all that, it also tells you that you need to kind of think above and beyond what money and possessions and all that kind of thing has to offer, and kind of use your imagination and let it take you to a whole other place and of enlightenment and perhaps, you know, a new way of thinking. Oh, here he is. So here's the couple in the back, kind of turned away from us, facing what I think of it as like the world. They have the world in front of them. They have every resource at their fingertips. They have the wealth and the prosperity, you know, the love and sort of that support to go out there, to venture out there together and explore together. You know, nothing's in their way. And he's, you know, this sort of refined looking, I don't know, if gypsy or fairy or some kind of magical being who, you know, all you need is, and, you know, I don't know, some fruits to give you some nourishment, and the rest is up to you. You know, let your imagination soar and let it take you to uncharted territory. So it kind of just adds another layer to that meaning, and it does mention that in the book, and that's how I discovered a whole new way of seeing this card and thinking about what this card might mean. Now, you know, it may not sort of hold true to a different type of Ten of Pentacles, because it all depends on the art and your intuition and everything. So I mean, also in the surrounding cards and the context in which you're asking the question and reading the spreads, and, you know, if you're using spreads or not. But basically, it's nice to sort of add those little tidbits, so it kind of gets you thinking and exploring and rediscovering and all that. So that's just my quick video. Is it quick? Oh, it's under 20 minutes, so I've made longer. Just really excited and very happy to have the second edition. The mini size is coming, so I imagine within the next couple of weeks it should be here. Just so happy because it's just been on my wish list forever. Tarot of Delphi, they're making a second edition, whether it's next year or the year after, 2019, 2020. That's another deck that's been on my wish list forever. It's very impossible to come by, and I mean, I have come across, maybe one or two, but they're sold for just such an crazy amount of money that, you know, hundreds and hundreds of dollars, that I can wait for the second edition, and very excited for that too. So thank you so much for watching. It's Mara's Tarot and Oracle channel, and I'm very excited to share with you the Victorian Romantic second edition, my favorite by far. And I hope that you enjoyed. And I will see everyone really soon. Take care. Bye.